Hello and welcome to the Bald Truth Review, episode 15. My personal take on what has been learnt from the recent by-election results in St Helier number 1 and number 2 districts. Was the success of candidates Sam Mezek and Nicola Cornu all about a new mood of political change sweeping the island, or was it a little more complicated than that? Well, in my view, there were three specific aspects at play here. The first one is this. It should be quite apparent that both Nicola Cornu and Sam Mezek were campaigning on principles, issues that were almost exactly the same as the two politicians who had held those seats before. Politicians, of course, who just happened to be myself and my wife, former Deputy Shona Pitman. So to that degree, there certainly is an element of the people of St Helier in number 1 and number 2 saying, we're very happy with the representation we've had. We'd like more of the same, please. The second issue, I feel, is this. Both candidates were very credible candidates. They worked very hard. They knocked on just about every door in their districts during their campaign. Something that's crucial to success as a deputy in the urban areas. And of course, it must be said that alongside that, the establishment really were not able to field a credible candidate themselves. The days of the big hitters for the establishment, it seems, have long gone. And that, I feel, has huge implications for the future and the hopes of bringing a more democratic government to Jersey. Now, the third aspect at play here, I think, is very, very important indeed. And this is linked to the online presence that both candidates had. Both deputies Cornu and Mezek had their own blogs. They were interviewed by the citizens' media. They were able to get their message out in a way that the other candidates did not. Indeed, this online presence, for the first time really, gave an alternative to the control which Jersey state media, the discredited mainstream media, had over the message put out about the quality of a candidate and what they stood for. Thanks to the bloggers, thanks to the candidates' own blogs indeed, they were able to tell the truth to the electorate, to put across exactly what they stood for. And this too, I feel, has huge implications for the future, and certainly for the election in October 2014. Indeed, its importance has been recognised by the renowned Professor Adrian Lee himself only recently. The message here is for anyone who would dismiss the power of citizens' media and the blogs really needs to think again, because the success of deputies Mezek and Cornu prove that the landscape has very much changed. With the general election now only some 6 months away, I think it's very appropriate that we look at the wider issue here and what needs to be done if the success of Nicola Cornu and Sam Mezek are to be built on. And in doing that, I think it is very important that leftists, and I'm certainly one of those, are quite honest that in the past, the left in Jersey have largely failed. They've failed to build on successes as these. And what we need to do is understand why. Now, in my view, a key reason for the left failing to deliver what we could have done, and let's be quite honest here, over the last 10, 20 years, the left have had some of the very best politicians in the States, They've had some very capable people, some very charismatic people, and yet they've not delivered all that they could have done. The reason for this, I feel, is that the left, traditionally in Jersey, fail to put aside comparatively small differences. They fail to act as the right do, i.e. put everything focused on achieving power. What the left need to do, and certainly what new deputies Mezek and Lecornu need to do, is to work with others and put aside those differences. They've got to act collectively. They need, with their colleagues, to come up with a set of principles that everyone can adhere to, and then put those across to the public, ensuring that the public are completely clear on what they all stand for. Because what must be remembered is that one person in the States alone cannot change anything. He can make promises, but he cannot guarantee to keep those promises, because he or she has to convince those 50, or will be 48 other people. Now, of course, to take this a bit further, the success in those by-elections for leftist candidates has led on to talk of another attempt to develop party politics in Jersey. And I think I'm probably quite well placed to give some comment on what needs to be done if that is to work. Let us remember, back in 2008, the Jersey Democratic Alliance, the JDA, had the biggest success for party politics since immediately after the war. Now, I was the chairman of the JDA in the lead up to that successful campaign. And something that I think is most definitely true is that a chairman of any party, whether it's Reform Jersey or something else, cannot be a politician, because you simply cannot do the two jobs. The politicians need to be able to focus on the politics. The chairman needs to be gathering a group around him to put across that policy, those principles. Am I making a pitch for the job myself? No, I'm not. Not at all. I'm not a member of Reform Jersey, and I'm putting these views across simply as an interested observer and someone who obviously cares deeply about my island. Is party politics desirable? Absolutely. It's the only way we're going to get accountable politics, accountable government, so that someone's vote will actually be linked to what then happens within the States Chamber. The only way that you, the voter, will be able to turf out parties, politicians who do not deliver what they promised. So that's my message for deputies Lecornu and Mezek. Get together with your colleagues. Hammer out those small, frankly irrelevant differences. Decide on some clear principles and agree that you must stand together on those. Build a team of volunteers to take the workload off of yourselves. And if you can, try and get some funding. Because the truth of the matter is, in Jersey, the left will always be up against the establishment, big bucks, the vested interest of the millionaires and the powerful who run this island like a private club.